Story 1. When people cancel plans or do not show up to a party I am hosting, I usually say things like, "It is okay," or "Do not worry about it." But in all honesty, I shed quite a few tears. Story 2. Not being invited to activities. People at my job always hang out and do things, then loudly talk about it in front of me, but I have never been invited. Friends do the same thing, have a get-together, and I am never included unless I accidentally hear about it. I have to force myself to pretend not to care, but it is hard always being the one left out. I guess people just dislike me, and I should just deal with it. Story 3. Politics. I try to pretend I do not care, but I am very seriously worried. This is certainly not the United States of America I grew up in, and I do not like it. Story 4. My face, I know in my head it's probably not that bad, but my anxiety and everything just get to me and I always feel chopped 90% of the time. Story 5. When people interrupt me while I am explaining something, it happens so often. Everyone always has a better, more exciting story to tell. I pretend I do not mind and usually stop talking to allow the person to take over. I pretend not to care, but I am secretly planning to never speak to that person again. Story 6. I want people to enjoy my company. I want to get along with everyone, and when I have an argument with someone, it really bothers me. Story 7. Well, it was one thing, so maybe not meaningful or anything, but I got sexually assaulted by a drunk elderly woman at a festival. I just froze up, and she groped me. I was so scared. Story 8. My father disregarded my feelings as a child, which caused me to have immense anxiety and depression. When I asked him about it, he said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "I'm sorry." Story 9. Every time a man said he did not want anything serious, I acted like I was okay with it. I am not, in fact, okay. Story 10. The fact that I cannot marry the person I love. But I convince myself that at least I have a good job, so I do not need a man. Story 11. The fact that I can no longer communicate with my wife without her perceiving some kind of attack or insult. I have to phrase everything carefully, speak calmly and pleasantly all the time, and make sure she is not tired, stressed, overheated, or hungry when I speak. Otherwise, I end up apologizing for saying such hurtful things as, "Do you have the packing list for our daughter's summer camp?" Or, "The bread went moldy. I will pick up a new loaf tomorrow." I wear my calm and happy mask all day and hope for the best. Story 12. My husband has sloppy eating habits. He drenches everything in condiments and then gets it all over his face, hands, and clothes. Story 13. Ignoring my business partner's childish behavior and lack of professionalism, as he is always with his girlfriend even at the office and during projects, which is exhausting me. Additionally, he earns money that I feel he does not deserve, and because of this, his ego is very high. Story 14. My stutter when I talk about something I am interested in. I stop talking for a moment and pretend I do not care, but it really makes me feel like I am stupid. Story 15. My local park, which includes my favorite fishing spot, has become a homeless encampment. Officially, I am supposed to feel bad for the homeless people there and do what I can to support them. Unofficially, I am a teacher on summer break and just want to take my children to the park and go fishing. But I cannot because many of those people have mental illness issues and it is not safe. The city does nothing about it. Story 16. My kids love their stepmother. I know it may seem silly, but she is good to them, so that is good. They are both grown adults, 26 and 24 years old, and have families of their own. Still bothers me. Story 17. Something I was just talking about with my husband is that I always feel like I have to compare myself to others to be on their level. If I am not, I feel awful about myself. Silly brains do silly things. Story 18. I have a partner, and we have been together for 7 years. We both have children, but not together. Each of us has a son. His youngest son is 18 years old. He is very manipulative with his father, which bothers me deeply. Since I do not like people telling me anything about my children, I do not tell them anything about their children. It is a rule of coexistence. I do not tell you anything about your children, and you do not tell me anything about mine. Story 19. When my two sisters send many pictures of them spending time with my 1 and 3-year-old granddaughters. They live not too far away from them, and I am 10 hours away. I used to tell myself that it was good, that their being with them was great. That is not true. I did not get to see the baby until she was 6 months old. I only see them every 3 to 4 months. They have pictures of the children in new outfits, with new toys, and going to interesting places. I am so far removed from that, I cannot even join their conversations. But get this. I was with them for 3.5 days this past weekend. When they saw me, they did not even look in my sister's direction all weekend. Story 20. How hard it is to make new actual worthwhile friends the older you get. I'm tired of the 5 to 7 business days it takes for a reply. I'm so bummed that meetups almost always turn into cancellations. I'm not a young mom, so my friends who are my age and do not have children are almost against having kids, as if that is their identity. I've just become more comfortable being a hobbit in my own house with my little family. Story 21. After 7 years together, I have come to realize that when it truly matters, during the most critical and emotionally important moments, my girlfriend is unable to be there for me in the way I need. What is harder is that she does not seem able or willing to recognize this, let alone grow from it. I am afraid that without that understanding or change, we cannot keep moving forward. Story 22. When I get ignored while online dating, getting to know someone for a few weeks and then suddenly they disappear, it hurts. Story 23. My best friend of 35 years stopped communicating with me a year ago today. I act like I have gotten over it, but I think about her constantly and dream about her several times a week. Story 24. To throw a party, people come, have fun, eat, and drink, but no one says thank you. Who raised these people? Story 25. People will dislike me for saying this, but I pretend not to care about how easygoing the company is and about everyone coming in whenever they feel like it and leaving when they want. However, I actually dislike it. I understand the benefits of being an easygoing, choose-your-own-adventure company, and I try to appreciate it by taking advantage of it myself. But I feel terrible when I do, and I am irritated by everyone's lack of urgency. I want to get in, get out, and leave early. When someone does not arrive until 11 a.m. and then schedules all of their appointments midday, such as veterinarian or doctor visits, why do people schedule midday appointments? Am I the only one who schedules them in the morning or evening to make it more convenient for my route to and from work? For the sake of company culture, I do not care. It just bothers me because I feel like our department is overwhelmed and short-staffed, and we have many deadlines. The company does not have the budget to hire help. If an individual contributor can show up at 11 a.m. and leave at 3 p.m., maybe we should not pay them a full-time salary so we can get help for teams that need it. Story 26. Someone comparing my ailments or disability to others without realizing how belittling it is. It hurts a lot, especially when it comes from family. Story 27. My health. I hate going to the doctor and avoid it like the plague. The problem is I am middle-aged now, so although it was easy to brush off certain aches and pains in my youth, I quietly believe there are a few things I should see a doctor for. Needless to say, even with that knowledge, I avoid going, but I think about it. Story 28. When someone genuinely enjoys getting a reaction from me, I have to act like I do not want to jump back, if that makes sense. Story 29. Being liked or looking good is important. It's strange because I love myself and my appearance, and I outright refuse to shave as a way of protesting beauty standards. Plus, I feel uncomfortable without hair on my body. However, it really hurts me whenever somebody comments on how there are like 2 hairs between my eyebrows or something like that. Most people see me as a really confident person, so they probably don't realize that it actually hurts me. Story 30. My father has forgotten 2 of my birthdays. That hurt, and I will never forget it, especially since my mother has passed. I understand he has some challenges he is working through, but it taught me to love my children even more. I will be damned if my children ever feel that way. Story 31. Not having a job, mostly because I really do not know what career I should pursue, and thus not having my own money. Story 32. My husband is polyamorous, but I am not. I wouldn't trade him for the world, but not feeling like I will live up to his standards is difficult. Story 33. This girl I like, but I am off for summer break now, and I am trying not to think about her, but I just cannot. Story 34. My ex-husband treats his new girlfriend much better than he treated me, and I believe I am largely the reason. He was awful to me. He was in a terrible place in life, which led to him losing almost everything and ending up in jail. He is in a much better place now and has learned some life lessons. He has a new girlfriend and is much better in this relationship than he was in ours. It does not feel good to be the one treated poorly to teach someone how to treat another person better. I have no choice but to interact with them, and I am cordial. I think he is aware. I keep as much distance as I can. Story 35. What other people think about me. I like to think I am beyond needing the approval of others, but if that were really true, I would dress differently, routinely tell people to go away, and not bother with things like deodorant. I do care a lot less than I did as a teenager, when that feeling peaked for me as I tried so hard to be cool, deep, and rebellious. However, at the end of the day, it still feels good to be liked by other people. Story 36. Acting like I am all right with or accepting being by myself. You can only work on yourself so much. I disagree with the notion that you should not be or look for someone to complete you. Being with a person who matches your vibe enhances who you are as a person because you want to be the best version of yourself for that person. If that makes any sense. Story 37. I had a deadbeat father, and despite always promising myself I would never let it happen to my children, they have one. I am exactly where I never wanted to be financially, but when you hit rock bottom, the only way is up. Story 38. My brother's existence terrifies me. I'm scared to walk past him in my own house because he always says something offensive or insulting toward me. Every Saturday, the family sits downstairs, and I rarely join them. When I do, I leave within minutes because my brother starts yelling slurs at me or at anyone. He insults me and my mother occasionally, and I feel so bad for her most of the time. She's very close to kicking him out of the house, I can tell. He's 22 now, and I keep telling her to kick him out. The same goes for my second oldest brother, who is 24. He's definitely not as bad, but they are very similar sometimes. I have to pretend it doesn't bother me when I am around him. Story 39. Not having any friends. I was really shy in elementary school, which led to me being an outcast in middle school. Meanwhile, the abuse at home got worse, so I withdrew even more. Then we started moving every few months or year. By the time I wanted to get out of the house and have friends, I could never keep any for long, considering my lack of social experience. I had a solid friend group for some of junior and senior years of high school, but that fell apart. The rest of the group got really into drugs, so I stepped away, not wanting to get involved. Right after dropping that group, I moved to get away from the abusive household. Don't get me wrong, my life has been going uphill ever since, but I haven't made a single friend, and the many years of social isolation are catching up. It's a feeling I truly wouldn't wish on anyone. Story 40. When people share incorrect information on social media, it is never worth correcting them. I have anxiety and am non-confrontational, but sometimes it makes me very angry. I am trying to get better at correcting harmful information that is directly related to my field. Story 41. My birthday. I hate it. Some of the worst days of my life happened either on that day or very close to it. When I am reminded of it, I am reminded of those horrible events. I tell people I really do not like my birthday because it is tied to very bad memories that I do not wish to relive. I ask them to please just pretend it does not exist and treat it like any other day. You would think my friends, the people who say they care about me, would comply. But no. Story 42. The fact is that if luck had not been on our side, my only brother and I would have been killed in separate car accidents 10 years apart caused by reckless drivers. My brother was T-boned by a drunk driver at a roundabout on the driver's side door, which sent him into a police station in late 2011. While my 4 friends and I were nearly killed in a head-on collision because the other driver was on his phone in the summer of 2021. I do not talk about it much because of how long ago it was, but on another day, my parents' only 2 children would be dead. Story 43. My failure at anything aesthetic. No fashion sense, And my living space is unattractive too. I just don't have the eye that knows what looks good. Story 44. I have a decent relationship with most of my immediate family and a very good relationship with my husband and his family. However, I have no friends. Story 45. Specific family relationships and marriages cause rifts between siblings. I use the gray rock method and do not give it my energy, but I talk about it with my spouse every few months. Story 46. Someone I thought was really close to me announced her pregnancy on social media instead of telling me. I am pregnant too, and she was one of the first friends I told. When I told her, it hurt my feelings that I did not get to know before social media did. She took a week to respond and said she did not intend to hurt me. Then she did not show up to my baby shower. I am sure I will not be invited to hers. There were many other signs this friendship was falling apart, and it is really hurtful. I think about it a lot. I feel stupid or duped, but I have not brought it up in more than a month to anyone in my support system. I do not want to keep focusing on it when it is clear it is over. Story 47. Most of my friendships are now one way. I send about 50 birthday cards per year and I call. I am the one reaching out. They never call unless they are in crisis. Not even a happy birthday or Merry Christmas text. It is hard to accept that it is time to just call it. Time of death. July 7th, 2025. Story 48. When people do not keep their promises, especially my parents, it is disappointing. If you promise to play a game with me tomorrow or have a picnic with me at the park next week, please do it. Do not say, I am busy, or I will do it another day. Story 49. My cousin flew across the country to visit a theme park in my city and did not bother to tell me. We used to be very close. It seems that is not the case anymore. His wife is unpleasant. Story 50. My lack of close relationships. I am only in my 20s, but I cannot seem to connect with people my age. I try not to think about if I die tomorrow, there will not be many people to mourn me, and I will be forgotten, a second death so to speak. I do not know. I am bad with words. Story 51. The threat of artificial intelligence destroying everything so a few people can become extremely wealthy while the rest of us become their unpaid serfs is real. The idea that they will share the wealth is laughable. I try not to talk about it or think about it too much because technology enthusiasts will only respond with, it's progress. Progress is good. But that is general and you probably meant more personal. On a personal level, I wanted children and thought this heartbreak would lessen as I got older. Now my peers are sending their adult children off to college and attending their weddings, which shows me how much of life I missed out on by not having the family I wanted. But what can I do? Ask them not to post pictures of their families? It is my burden to deal with. So I smile, congratulate them, go to their weddings, send money, and talk to my therapist about how I am supposed to move on when I am not going to have any of the things I wanted out of life. It is not getting any easier to come to terms with. Story 52. Not being invited to things because I am single. I am happily single and do not really want to be in a relationship, but there are several trips and events that I have not been invited to because I am single. I understand I affect the numbers, but I also do not want to date someone just to make things even for trips and events. Story 53. Never having a family that supports me. My brother is amazing and always my go-to person. Mom struggled with addiction, and Dad spent 8 years in prison. My mom's side of the family abandoned us decades ago. My dad's side of the family, the only family I knew, aside from my grandmother who is deceased, essentially disowned me because I had black friends. It is a really painful feeling growing up feeling like no one cares about you. Story 54. Being alone, never having love or support, or being able to spend quality time with my mother like my siblings do. Basically, from my conception to now, and I am grown. Story 55. All my female relatives are skinny and have amazing clothes. I know it is dumb to care, especially since many of them have really serious problems, but it really bothers me. I wish I did not care. I am not 14 anymore. Story 56. That I'm never getting the big extended family dinners and holidays, lives intertwined through each phase kind of life. Where you go to your parents' house for dinner just because, and go shopping with cousins and aunts. It's all I ever really wanted, and my family was destroyed a long time ago. Now I'm a parentless adult, which is for the best, trust me. But the hole in my heart aches every day, every milestone, every mundane thing that happens to me that I wish I could have them to share with. Story 57. Being a silly and fun person. I admit that in front of family members, I tend to act somewhat childish. It's not like I can act that way anywhere else, so I try to relax when I can. That has caused them to never take me seriously. I'm like the comic relief in a bad sitcom. I'm an adult, perfectly aware of the world around me, but I can't be around them without someone making a joke or thinking I'm naive and silly. I liked making them laugh and helping them relax when I was a kid, but as I got older, they stopped laughing with me and started laughing at me. That led me to act very differently in public. People praise me for being smart, focused, and serious. Then I go home and become a complete clown. At this point, I don't think they'll ever take me seriously. Every time I feel they might, I distract myself and say some random comment that they find funny, and it becomes the topic of conversation for the entire month. If it were just that, it would be okay. But they really do see me as silly. They probably think I'll end up being 40 and living in my parents' basement or something. Story 58. Not going to lie, I plan everyone's events. Any big life moments or birthday parties, I plan. I try my best to pay for it on my own. I try to be thoughtful and make it a fun experience. I don't do it for thanks or anything in return. I really enjoy making people feel special. Hardly anyone tries to plan anything for my birthdays or anniversaries. It hurts every time they come around. I just try not to let it show. I think I'm canceling future birthdays. Story 59. My relationship with my family is complicated. I want to have one and be on good terms with them, but I have to act like I don't care. If I don't, they will see it as an excuse to try to get back into my life, and they are not people I need in my life. They are racist, homophobic conservatives who threaten my husband. I do remember having good times with them as a child, but I am grown and know better about the type of people I want in my life. The hurt they cause is not worth my peace or my husband's safety. Story 60. My kids are growing up and will eventually leave home. It breaks my heart. I am happy that they will move on and live beautiful lives, but I am very scared of what will happen to me when I am alone. Story 61. When there is a big snowstorm and I hear snow blowers all around me, there I stand, just me and my shovel. Story 62. The number of times birthdays have been posted makes me feel better that I am not alone on this one. I do my best to remember birthdays and send messages or call. Yet on my birthday, nothing but silence. It bothers me more than it should, but I still cannot see myself not reaching out on their birthdays. Story 63. It hit really hard recently, but people love to talk to me at work. I am approachable and often told that I am trusted to seek help or advice at any time. However, no one wants to be friends. I am a convenience. No one wants to be friends, even when I reach out. The number of people who completely drift away when I do not initiate contact has become heartbreaking over the years. Story 64. To be honest, a lot. I couldn't name just one. Losing my best friend of almost 5 years about 2 months ago. Losing my best friend of almost 7 years at the beginning of this month. Not having any in real life friends. My heart condition. My mental state. My failing goals and plans. Much more. Story 65. I pretend not to care when people forget me. When someone forgets something I said, doesn't reply, cancels plans, or fails to notice the subtle signals I try so hard to send, I tell myself it's fine. I nod, smile a little, type no worries or don't worry about it with a soft pink emoji, maybe a heart or a sparkle, as if it didn't hurt. But inside, it stings. Badly. It confirms my worst fear. I'm not memorable. I'm not important. I'm forgettable background noise. I pretend I'm above it, like I don't care about attention or closeness or being known. But the truth is, I ache for it. When I'm overlooked or brushed aside, it doesn't just hurt. It unravels me. I spiral. I overthink. Was I boring? Did I say something wrong? Should I have been more quiet? Or more interesting? Am I too much? Or not enough? They probably never cared to begin with, And yet, the next time they reach out, I'll act normal. Soft, cute, careful. Because I'm terrified that if I show how hurt I really was, they'll think I'm clingy or dramatic and leave for good. So I say I don't mind. I always mind. Story 66. When I'm expressing something I'm interested in but people don't hear me and someone else starts talking, I feel frustrated. I'm naturally soft-spoken, which is embarrassing, and I don't know why. Unless I'm shouting, people don't hear me well. Sometimes I feel like they just choose not to listen. I try to be patient with people, which is very out of character for me. I get irritated easily, and when I was younger, I was quick to anger. I thought that was normal because it's what I saw a lot. But now I try to be patient and often let things slide. However, when I reach my limit and say something calmly, people tell me, "What's wrong with you? Stop being mean. That's so out of line." I hate it because people are disrespectful to my face and it's excused by saying, "That's just how they act. They've always been like that." Someone has literally said that before. That's crazy to me because I'm not perfect either, but I don't need to show my bad traits to everyone. Sorry for the rant. Story 67. This is going to be personal, but my recent breakup ended on good terms. We are still cool, and I have not cried since they left. I am physically okay and mentally all right. However, there are nights when I lie down and realize I am alone. I yearn to hear "I love you" once again. I jokingly say I want to be in another relationship, but I need to heal. Truth be told, I do not want to think about another person touching me for the time being. I show that I am past everything and ready to move on, but that tinge of pain eats at my heart whenever I think about them. Story 68. Thinking about the afterlife, specifically whether I am going to hell or not because my faith is not what it used to be. Story 69. My toddler is the type to always run off, explore, and most definitely hurt himself if I do not stop him. I pretend not to care that I cannot just hang back with the other mothers on the playground and talk, but it frustrates me. I really want to get to know some of the other parents since we have not been living here for very long, but my youngest is making it impossible because I constantly have to stop him from wandering off into traffic, falling off a ledge, or climbing up a slide that another child wants to go down at that moment. Story 70. People stealing shopping carts from the grocery store. I get irrationally angry when I see 50 carts scattered between the store and the nearest apartment complex. Story 71. When my spouse ignores me doing many household chores and does nothing but sit on their phone. They do not even offer to help. I just do what needs to be done and do not say anything because it will end in a fight. Story 72. When I mention spending time with gay and transgender friends to my parents, they get disappointed and upset, and it really hurts. I feel angry every time I see their disapproving faces and eye rolls. Why can't they just be more understanding? Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.